The St. Louis Cardinals added a pitcher to their 40-man roster and go 0 for 3 in the NL Gold Glove Awards. Justified, or did they get snubbed? This is Locked On Cardinals.
You are Locked On Cardinals, your daily St. Louis Cardinals podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey there, Cardinals fans. I'm JD Hafford, and I'm a national radio sports anchor, born and raised in the Lou and a lifetime Cardinals fan. And I'm your host for Locked On Cardinals, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, covering your team every day. Follow me on Twitter, X at JD Sports Radio, and the podcast at LO_Cardinals. We want to thank those of you who make Locked On Cardinals your first listen every day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcasts. We're also on YouTube. If you haven't joined us there yet, make sure you do. Hit that notification button so you know when new episodes are posted. That way you're not missing out on anything. This is a show serving Cardinal Nation and giving the best fans in baseball all of the info about the birds on the bat. Today's episode brought to you by FanDuel. You can start this season with a big return on FanDuel. New customers can place a $5 bet, and you'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. All right, let's start with the news on Friday. Unfortunately, was crushed by other responsibilities, so was unable to put an episode out on Friday, and I apologize for that, but we'll get you caught up to everything that's happened since then. Friday, the Cardinals made a claim, adding 24-year-old right-hander Roddery Munoz from the Miami Marlins to their 40-man roster. Now, Munoz did not have very good stats last year. Nothing about him is going to jump off the page at you when it comes to his stats. All right, let me just warn you about that right now. One thing that's good is that he's only 24 years old. Okay, we can handle that. That's good. We like youth. It's something the Cardinals are leaning towards this year. 2-7 though, with a 6.53 ERA in the majors this past year. Appeared in 18 games and made 17 starts for the Marlins. Struck out 70 and 82 in 2/3 innings, but struggled overall by allowing 42 walks and 26 home runs. Class AAA. 4-4, 4.96 ERA, 43 whiffs in 49 innings. The lowdown on Munoz from people that I have talked to: electric arm, a lot of talent there. Has to stay away from walking people. Has to learn to be able to control it, and don't give up meatballs, as our guy Peter, who was the host of Locked On Marlins, said. He goes, that's his problem. Throw strikes, don't give up the meatballs, and there's something there for you. So I trust Peter. Has never led us astray. And sounds to me like it's going to be a nice little project for Dusty Blake and company. Maybe they can salvage something. Again, 24 years old. It's not like this is some old fart they picked up that is on the last leg of his career. This is a guy who's got talent, who's got something to build upon, and they just haven't been able to reel it in yet. At least they weren't able to with the Marlins this past year. So maybe he can become a bullpen piece. Maybe he's somebody like a Keenan Middleton type that the Cardinals don't have to pay $6 million and still get, something good out of it. So we'll see. We'll see. Maybe he's a starter. Maybe they continue to use him as a starter. We'll see what happens with Roddery Munoz and the St. Louis Cardinals. But now on the 40-man roster, the GM meetings are in San Antonio this week. They'll start on Tuesday, so business might pick up a little bit for the Cardinals with all of the questions that we have going into this very different offseason for this franchise. Now, the team did get some unfortunate news last night when it comes to off-season awards. And I know it's not the end of the world stuff, but the Cardinals have long been known for their Gold Glove caliber talent on defense. They've got 99 Gold Glove award winners in the history of this franchise, which is the most by any franchise in Major League Baseball. And this year they had 3 finalists: Nolan Arenado at third base, Masyn Winn at shortstop, and Donovan in the utility role again. But unfortunately, they all walked away empty-handed. Rawlings announced their winners for both the NL and the AL on Sunday night, and the Cardinals go 0 for 3. Of the 3, Masyn Winn had the best shot to win the award, right? To take home the hardware after leading all shortstops with a plus 14 defensive runs saved. He even won the 2024 Fielding Bible Award for best defensive shortstop. So it wasn't like out of the realm of possibilities that he was going to win. He also tied 4-time Gold Glove Award winner and Platinum Award winner Andrelton Simmons for the most double play runs saved in a season by shortstops since 2003. Done the best that they've seen in 21 years. But one thing Masyn had going against him was he committed 18 errors this year, which was the 6th highest amount by a shortstop in the league. The Reds' Elly De La Cruz committed 29 to lead the league. So naturally, Mason's fielding percentage, it took a hit on what the votes were going to be for him to win. Ended the season with a 971 fielding percentage, which was 11th among shortstops. So kind of hard to overcome that. So instead of getting the win, the Rockies' Ezequiel Tovar ends up taking home the Gold Glove for the very first time. Tovar committed just 8 errors, was a +10 in defensive runs saved, had better range numbers. So you can see why Winn had a really good chance to win the award, but you can also see why Tovar ended up being the winner in the end there. We did post up a poll on Twitter. Did Masyn Winn get robbed of the NL Gold Glove Award at shortstop? Clearly, a lot of Cardinal fans are voting on this one because 81.6% of the vote currently says yes. So a lot of people believe that Masyn deserved it. And you can go both ways. It's not like I'm sitting here saying that Winn didn't deserve this award. Of course, he deserved to win, but there can only be one. And numbers-wise, overall, Tovar kind of had the better numbers. Defensive runs saved, be damned, right? The Giants' Matt Chapman. Moving on, the Giants' Matt Chapman beat out Nolan Arenado at third base. And that wasn't much of a surprise, though. And I kind of warned you about that when the finalists were announced. Chapman had led all third basemen with a +17 defensive runs saved. He's now a 5-time winner of the award. Arenado, no slouch, had a +6 DRS. Again, we love Nolan, but we knew this one was kind of a long shot that he'd win. He was done in by what was a very tough first half defensively. We've mentioned this many times. The everydayers, you know what I'm talking about here. First half of the season, Nolan Arenado did not look healthy. He didn't look like his normal self down there at third base. Ended up with a -3 DRS, but was much more like himself in the second half where he was a +9. He was so much better in the second half. But unfortunately, it wasn't enough to sway the votes and ends up going to Matt Chapman, who is just disgusting down there at third base anyway. So you understand. For the utility Gold Glove, I thought Brendan Donovan had a decent shot at winning this award, considering he had won the award before in the inaugural season back in 2022. But this year ended up getting beat out by the Pirates. First-time winner Jared Triolo, who played mostly second base and third base, finished a +7 in defensive runs saved, while Donnie spent most of the time in left field. And then at second base, had an even 0 defensive runs saved. Donnie obviously was kind of held back a little bit this year from playing other positions because coming off elbow surgery, the Cardinals wanted to basically relegate him to left and second base only. They weren't trying to move him around to a bunch of other spots. So maybe that hurt the cause a little bit. But second year in a row, Cardinals do not have a Gold Glove Award winner. And according to Derek Gould at STLtoday.com, it's just the second time since 1957 that they've been shut out in back-to-back seasons. That happened in 2016 and 2017. So not all that long ago that it happened. But bright side, looking at things on the bright side, because we don't like to focus on the negative all that much. But on the bright side, you had 3 people nominated for Gold Gloves. You had Michael Ciani, although he wasn't a finalist. Everybody knows the guy played Gold Glove caliber defense in center field. This team feels like it's in a much better place defensively than it was at the end of 2023. I think we can all agree on that. Now, if Nolan Arenado gets traded, the defense at the hot corner will likely take a step back, whether it's Nolan Gorman down there, Thomas Ajayci, or maybe they even move Brendan Donovan down to third base there instead. You know, that's a possibility as well. It doesn't necessarily have to be in the outfield when you've got a healthy outfield of Jordan Walker and Lars Nootbaar and Michael Ciani and Victor Scott II. Alec Burleson obviously can play some outfield as well. There's options. There's options there. So maybe Brendan Donovan, if Nolan Arenado gets traded, ends up being your third baseman. What if Nolan Gorman gets traded this offseason? That's a thing too. So we'll see what they do. It might just be Arenado down there. We don't know. We don't know if he's going to get traded or not yet. The rest of your NL winners were the Giants' Patrick Bailey at catcher. The Braves, Chris Sale at pitcher. The Diamondbacks, Christian Walker wins again at first base. The Brewers, Bryce Terang at second base. Tovar at short. Chapman at third. The Cubs, Ian Happ gets it in left field. The Rockies, Britton Doyle in center field. And the Brewers, Sal Frelick in right field. And then you had Triolo as your utility winner. Over the American League, it was the Mariners, Cal Raleigh at catcher. The Royals, Seth Lugo, who, what a miss on that one. Again, I don't know if the Cardinals ever made an attempt to try to sign Seth Lugo this past offseason, but he was somebody that we talked about on this show many times. I was like, it just makes a lot of sense. He'd be pretty good. Had a monster year with the Royals, and now takes home a Gold Glove at pitcher. The Twins, Carlos Santana over at first base. What is he, 38 years old? Something like that? I don't know. He's old, though. But had outstanding numbers at first base this year. It's going to be a free agent, I believe. The Guardians, Andres Jimenez at second base. The Royals, Bobby Witt Jr. at short. The Astros, Alex Bregman at third. Guardians, Stephen Kwan in left field. The Blue Jays, Dalton Varsho in center field. The Red Sox, Wilyer Abreu in right field. And then the Mariners, Dylan Moore as your utility winner in the American League. Paul Goldschmidt won the Gold Glove at first base with the Cardinals back in 2021. That was the year the Cardinals had a record 5 winners. And there are some rumors about where he might land this offseason as a free agent. We'll discuss it next on Locked On Cardinals. Get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because right now new customers can bet $5, just $5, and you'll get $150 in bonus bets. If you win, of course, but $150 in bonus bets? Hell yeah. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL. It's all in one place. It's right there for you. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats. You can do live play-by-play and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Had a hunch on Sunday myself. Was feeling good about Joe Burrow and the Bengals. Just something about the way things were leading up to the game against the Raiders on Sunday. Just had a feeling Joe was going to have a big day, and he did. He threw 5 touchdown passes in that one. So that hunch worked out for me. And if you end up getting one of those hunches, make sure you're visiting FanDuel.com to join today. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Thanks again for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen every day. You can leave comments on YouTube as well as on Twitter X anytime you want. Your feedback is always welcome and encouraged. A lot of free agent rumors are beginning to swirl. Again, the GM meetings will start on Tuesday in San Antonio, so they're going to continue to get bigger and bigger as we move on. It's just going to pick up steam as we move deeper into this offseason. The Cardinals have made waves, so to speak, by declining the team options on Kyle Gibson, Lance Lynn, Keenan Middleton, and making it known that they won't be trying to re-sign Paul Goldschmidt. That was actually made official today that they are declining the option with Paul Goldschmidt. So he will be a free agent now. But these are all things that you already know about if you listen to this podcast, all right? We've already discussed this stuff. Naturally, there's been a lot of speculation about where the former NL MVP and 7-time All-Star might land. Paul Goldschmidt, I know we're not all excited about him leaving the team because you like Goldie, but, you know, business is business. The problem here is that other teams will probably see a little more in Goldie than the Cardinals do, because the Cardinals are trying to cut payroll. Also, they've seen the decline firsthand the last 2 seasons, where other teams are like, well, but we might see him this way and view him in a different light. Brewers are one of those teams. The Brewers are one destination that's been brought up to replace Rhys Hoskins at first. Return to the Diamondbacks is another possibility. That's not out of the realm either, because Christian Walker, who replaced Goldie when he was traded to St. Louis, is set to hit free agency as well. Another spot that has popped up is the New York Yankees. And this one was kind of interesting to me. I felt this was, I was like, what? But Goldie, there's an opening in New York now. You know, former Cub Anthony Rizzo, who had been with the Yankees since traded over by the Cubs in 2021, had a decent year with them in 2022, had 32 home runs, but he has had a lot of injury issues the last couple seasons. Hasn't played in 100 games in either of the last 2 years due to those injuries. OPS plus average of 87 in those combined. The Yankees declined their $17 million team option on Rizzo and are on the hook for a $6 million buyout. Now the top priority for the Yankees obviously will be to try to re-sign Juan Soto. They're going to do whatever they can to bring him in. But John Heyman suggests that they could make a play for Pete Alonso from the Mets. He's believed to be the prime backup plan to plan A of signing Juan Soto. And so he says they could also go after Christian Walker and Paul Goldschmidt. Personally, I don't know about you, but I'd much rather see him in Arizona again or New York than in the division with the Brewers. That is not something I would like to see. First off, because he's going to come back and bite us, and he's just going to make us look silly, because that's what former Cardinal players do normally against them when they see us. But I would rather not have him in the division. I don't want to see him in Chicago. I don't want to see him in Milwaukee. No, go somewhere else, Goldie. Thank you for your service, but please go somewhere else. That's not the only headlines involving the Yankees. Their ace Garrett Cole has exercised the opt-out clause in his contract. However, the team can't void the opt-out and prevent Cole from reaching free agency by adding a one-year extension worth $36 million to his pre-existing deal, which had 4 years and $144 million still remaining. And maybe when it's all cleared up, he'll learn to cover first base. That's something I think Garrett Cole and the Yankees should work on, covering first base on a ground ball to the first base side of the infield. Maybe it'll come in handy one day if you get good at that. Staying in New York, Mets pitcher Sean Manaea, somebody that for years I thought the Cardinals were going to bring in at one point or another. He's set to become a free agent again. The left-hander had an excellent bounce-back season. We got to see him a couple times against the Cardinals, and he was really, really good against us from what I remember, and he intends to opt out of his final year of his 2-year, $28 million contract. The Mets are going to be seeking multiple starting pitchers this offseason. Manaea going to free agency. Luis Severino, former Cardinal. Jose Quintana set to hit free agency too. That's a move that I wish the Cardinals had kept around. Jose Quintana. One of the names that might end up in New York with the Mets is two-time Cy Young Award winner Blake Snell, who opted out of his deal with the Giants, making him one of the top starting pitchers available on the free agent market. Started off the year tough. Remember, he was hurt and his numbers were bad, and then he got healthy and just went off in the second half of the season, threw a no-hitter this year. So he's going to get the bag, along with Corbin Burns, who's won the Cy Young, Max Fried from the Braves, and former Cardinal Jack Flaherty is also going to be a big name in free agency as well. Of course, the Cardinals will not be involved in any of these guys. This is not the year that the Cardinals are going to be spending any money. They're going to be looking for cheaper ways to pick up wins this season. Again, I don't believe this is a tank job, but at the same time, they're just trying to clear out the books a little bit and get this thing going in the right direction, but not doing it by overpaying for veterans. And you're not going to see them compete with any of these contracts that some of these dudes are going to get. They're going to make sick money. I mean, like, just hearing the Garrett Cole money, like to make $36 million, like you could get a couple of really good starting pitchers for what you're paying him, and they still didn't win the World Series despite paying them all that money. But it won't stop these big market teams from overpaying on guys. So will be interesting to see where everybody lands. We've also got some news on some of the teams in the division where one star player is coming back to their team while another one might be on the trade block. So we'll talk about it next on Locked On Cardinals. Gametime is an authorized ticket marketplace of Major League Baseball that makes getting tickets faster and easier. They've got killer last-minute deals. They've got all-in prices. You get the views from the seat that you purchase and their lowest price guarantee. Gametime takes the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets, but it's not just baseball, guys. You know, the baseball season is not happening at the moment. It never stops, but there are no games for us to go buy tickets to and go check out unless you're going to Winter Ball or the Arizona Fall League. But you can save up to 60% on buying last-minute tickets for all your favorite sports, whether it's the NFL, college football, college basketball begins. We've got NHL, the Blues, you know, they're up and down so far, but it's fun to get down to the arena and check them out and see as they continue to reset their organization as well. But it doesn't even have to just be sports. We can do concerts. You can do comedy. You can do theater. All of these things are available on the Gametime app. Gametime ticket coverage has got you covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. You can trust them. Take the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets and tickets to any of your favorite events with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem the code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download Gametime today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Thank you again for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen. Today, for your second listen, find Locked On MLB. Baseball guru Sully brings a daily blend of humor and baseball, keeping you updated on all the teams during this offseason, even the silent ones like our St. Louis Cardinals, who will do more subtracting than they will be doing addition. You can find Locked On MLB on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. You know, they got that phrase, keep your friends close and your enemies closer. So, got to keep an eye on things in the division right now. Everybody knows what the Cardinals' plan is, that they're going to be moving on from some of these high-priced veterans. They're going young, but that means some of these other teams might be either scooping up some former Cardinals or they might be getting rid of some people as well. So it's not like we're just, in the NL Central, outside of, the Cubs have money. The Cardinals have money. They're deciding to do things differently right now. But it's not like the Pirates or the Brewers or the Reds are going to be huge spenders this offseason. But you got to keep an eye on them. We got to see what they're up to. What are they thinking about? Obviously, the Reds getting Terry Francona says that they want to compete in a major way this year. What are the Cubs up to? Well, one thing about the Cubs is they will have Cody Bellinger back in the fold in 2025. He has exercised his player option to return to the team. $27.5 million next season for Cody Bellinger. He'll have another chance to opt out ahead of the 2026 season. Belly, he had that resurgent year, right, in 2023. All right, they give him the 3-year, $80 million pack that he signed with the Cubs. He can earn $25 million in 2026 or receive a $5 million buyout, but he has this resurgent year where he hits 307, 26 home runs, 97 RBIs, 20 stolen bases. The OPS plus is at 139. He's got a WAR of 4.4. It was like Belly is back, man. Here is that NL MVP. He bet on himself, remember, because he had that shoulder problem that knocked him down a couple of tiers because he was having some bad seasons, man. And then he has this big year with the Cubs. But then last year, the numbers dip again, down to 266, 18 home runs, 78 RBIs, 9 stolen bases, the OPS plus of 111 in roughly the same amount of at-bats and the exact same number of games that he played in the previous season. His WAR fell to 2.2, so it makes sense for him. You can see why he wasn't trying to test the market after coming off of what was not as good of a season as he was previously. So it made sense for him. And I'm like looking at the numbers here and I'm like, all right, what does he got? 266, 18 and 78. Brendan Donovan has very similar numbers to Cody Bellinger and had a higher WAR at 2.6 this year. Can you imagine the Cardinals paying $27.5 million per year for Brendan Donovan? Can you imagine that? That's what you're kind of getting with Cody Bellinger right now after the season he just came off of. I know name, star power that Cody Bellinger brings because of winning the MVP and stuff. I get that he's worth a little bit more, but stats are the stats, man. So have fun with that, paying that contract, Cubs. The Brewers are likely going to lose Willy Adames this offseason. He's a free agent. He's going to get a bag after his big year. And now there's talk that Devin Williams might be out as well. Now, Williams, let's talk about the business side first. The Brewers declined the $10.5 million club option on their closer. Two-time All-Star. He's under control still. Club still got him under control as he heads into the final year of his arbitration. So it's not like they're just cutting ties with them. They said that his arbitration, what he gets, is probably going to be less than the $10.5 million it would have cost the Brewers to exercise the option, which is why it makes the move to decline it very sensible. But Jeff Passan says that Williams is a trade candidate. And that Brewers GM Matt Arnold said last month that the team will stay open-minded about the closer's future. Now, the Brewers are not afraid to deal away people before they make a whole lot of money. They've dealt away Corbin Burns to the Orioles prior to last season. His final year of club control. They also sent former closer Josh Hader to the Padres. If you remember that one, that was a big pain in the butt for the Milwaukee Brewers because they traded him and it pissed off everybody in the clubhouse. And then they ended up falling to pieces down the stretch. So that was a big problem. Williams had a roller coaster year this year because he starts the year hurt. Remember, he misses the first 4 months of the season, which we're all like, yay, they don't have Burns. They don't have Williams. This is where we're going to make our move. You know, they don't have Brandon Woodruff or the Cardinals can make a move in this division. And the Brewers still went out and won. It didn't matter. Willie Adames was huge. Christian Yelich was huge until he started dealing with problems. A lot of their young players stepped up. William Contreras was really, really good. So Williams has, he misses the first 4 months of the year. Back injury was the problem. Comes back and is his normal awesome self when he gets back on the mound. Allows just 3 earned runs. He strikes out 38 hitters over 21 2/3 innings during the regular season, but then you go to the postseason where the Brewers got knocked out by the Mets, and he was the one that gave up the big bomb to Pete Alonso in Game 3, which turned that series. And maybe that's left a sour taste in the mouths of the people in charge in Milwaukee. I don't know. I tell you what, Williams is a St. Louis native, and we secretly root for him. But if the Brewers want to ship him out and get him out of this division so we don't have to see him as much anymore, I'm cool with that. I am totally fine with that. So Brewers, do what you got to do, man. If you feel like you got to move on from Devin Williams, by all means, do it. Just don't take Goldie, okay? I don't want to see that. I'm not excited about that. But I would like to hear your thoughts and comments on everything we've discussed today. Where do you think certain guys are going to go? What did you think about Paul Goldschmidt possibly going to the New York Yankees? Is that something that you think is feasible? Where would you rather see him go? Would you rather see Goldie go to Arizona, go to the Yankees? Not the Brewers. You're not going to root for that, I'm pretty sure. But leave your thoughts and comments down below. Masyn, Winn, Brendan Donovan, Nolan Arenado. Did they get snubbed? Or should they not have won in the first place? Is this the right situation? A lot of people think Masyn Winn deserved that Gold Glove. 18 errors is a lot of errors to win a Gold Glove. Okay. When I saw that, talking about when he became a finalist, I was like, oh man, I know the 14 DRS is big, but 18 errors, that's a lot of errors, man. So just shows me and tells me that Masyn Winn, boy, does he have a bright future. Boy, does he have a bright future. I'm really excited about it. So leave your comments down below. Thank you again for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen every day. If you haven't already, hook us up with a follow on Twitter, X at LO_Cardinals and at JD Sports Radio. Please like and subscribe on YouTube, making the push for 11,000 subscribers. I need each and every one of you to help me along there because it helps our channel grow. It helps us find other Cardinal fans who are going to be in a weird situation this offseason without the Cardinals spending a whole lot of money and cutting some of the big names that are on their roster. We need to band together, stick together, strengthen numbers. So if you haven't liked and subscribed already, make sure you do that for me. All right. You're the best fans in baseball for a reason. We'll see you next time on Locked On Cardinals.